All right, everyone. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. Coming up on this episode of Hutch's Weather, we're going to talk about the forecast as promised. We're going over the fast facts of the numbers first, and then we're going to get to that smoke forecast like we talked about earlier this evening, so you have an idea about that smoky air. There's some thunderstorm risks in the future. We're going to talk about the track and timing of those, and I definitely want your feedback on some of these awesome photos that have been posted lately on hutchesweather.com. It all starts right now.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Good, very good, everyone. A quick message from my sponsors at Robert Gibb and Sons. Did you know that they can help you with your sump pump? That's right. You can add a battery backup to your sump pump and get Wi-Fi notifications from your sump pump. That way you're always in the know. Call my friends at Robert Gibb and Sons today and tell them Hutch sent you. Ask them how soon you can get this done.
Call Robert Gibb and Sons.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Sorry about that. The things that you need to know in the forecast are coming up right away. First and foremost, let's talk about our forecast for tonight's numbers. We'll get the information first, and then in the comments, if there's something you want to see in this particular broadcast, let me know. That's what makes this two-way street such a lovely street to travel on. I see Nathan is joining me again from the Fargo-Moorhead area. Hi, Nathan. Good to see you. Now let's check out these digits for the morning. It will be coolest off to the east in the morning on the North Shore. Do you see that? Woo-wee! We're in the 40s there. Low 50s on the Wisconsin side. As we look in our temperatures here, Bemidji 63 to start your day. Mid 60s in Fargo to around 70, I believe. Why? Because it's going to be breezy during the overnight hours. Hi, Brenda. Good to have you on board. Again, southerly winds and the morning temperatures that'll be, well, less than lovely, but not terrible. Now let's take a look at your tomorrow afternoon temperatures. Look at the sizzle. It's going to be on out in Glendive, Montana, 96 there, 99 in Sydney, Williston 95, Minot 95. So it's a scorcher out west. The Bismarck area will be near 90 as well. Here in the Red River Valley, the James River Valley, temperatures will be 80 to 85 for most. And we'll see a few upper 80s possible, not out of the question. Lakes Country expect upper 70s to near 80 for your day, including Bemidji, Detroit Lakes, and if you're up in Hubbard County at Park Rapids, it's going to be a mid 70s afternoon for you. Look at the wind speeds. They will be gusting from the south-southeast to nearly 40 miles per hour in the central Dakotas. Not quite as strong a gusts here in the valley, but we certainly will see some gusty winds. Now your 7-day planner. This will wrap up your numbers and the fast forecast facts, and we'll get to some of the other details that I mentioned. Stay tuned for that smoke update as well. That's coming momentarily. Look at these temperatures here. We're talking about some mighty, mighty hot weather on the way. So if you take a look at the Wednesday forecast, I do see some numbers that'll carry us back in the 80s here, 82 for Fargo-Moorhead. Then it looks like we cool off Thursday. A morning round of thunderstorms, those could be strong. In the afternoon, redeveloping storms will be shifting off to the east, but that's going to limit our temperatures in Fargo to the 70s. And then I have a 100% chance of potatoes on Friday. On Saturday, look at that. It's going to be a hot potato out there with an 87-degree day. And then on Sunday, for those of you in Barnesville, with 92 degrees, that is a fried potato right there. A few thunder showers in the extended forecast Monday and into Tuesday of next week. We'll have a couple of showers and temperatures closer to 80 degrees as we go through. It looks like some windier conditions will sweep out some of this heat, though, into the middle of next week. Michael says, would it be okay to add a cool Metallica pyro pic from Grand Forks to the website? You put it up there and you're going to hear a little ding in my background. This is how the system works. This is really cool. I'm making my system be interactive to you. If you go to my website right now and upload that Metallica picture, Michael, and then basically I'll hear the notification, I can go approve it and then show it immediately. So who else can cover severe weather like that, right? When you're telling me, hey, I got hail pics, we'll get them to you. Please bring me the 60s, Brenda says. And Cheryl says, good evening, watching from Park Rapids. Hi, Cheryl, good to have you on board. Clarine, good to have you on board as usual as well. Now, let's talk about this smoke forecast. And then coming up after that, we're going to share some awesome pictures, not only of the full moon, but some wildlife shots taken by some very talented photographers out there as well. So here we go. Let's get right to it and let's talk about this smoke forecast. Here it is. Well, I've been moving things around on my operating system here, so you have to bear with me, or I shouldn't say you have to, but I appreciate you bearing with me. Okay, now let's take a look at this forecast here. As we go into the overnight hours, there are some storms in Montana, and coming up here in a minute, we'll take a look at that interactive radar. But the forecast is what goes first here on Hutch's Weather Tonight, because there's a lot of interest in the forecast. Now, you've been hearing, if you've been listening to Hutch, that's going to be pretty quiet tonight, and that's indeed the case. Now, as we step through time, these black lines are called isobars. The closer they are together, the more change in pressure there is. And if we have a big change in pressure over a short area, that can really push the air. That's what makes air move. Air's in a hurry. We call that wind, and that means we're going to have south wind overnight. And because of the south wind, I think our temperatures will stay 65 to 70 degrees in some places, thanks to those breezy conditions. Notice just spits in the atmosphere in eastern South Dakota, the I-29 corridor. Get into the western Dakotas out there, there'll be a thunder shower or two drifting through, but this model is not painting a huge risk for strong storms in the west as we go through the overnight hours and through the middle of tomorrow. And in fact, see how close these isobars are getting here in the central Dakotas, in the eastern Dakotas. We're going to have some very gusty winds, over 35 or even 40 miles per hour at times. Now, tomorrow afternoon, late in the day, this is really as we get to the late afternoon and evening, thunderstorms develop on the Montana state line. You betcha big skies will be covered with cumulonimbus clouds out there, and those could be strong to severe. Notice the low pressure center out there in Wyoming and right on the Montana border, moving through Ekalaka and Baker. Showers and thunderstorms again will have a chance of some wind and some hail as we go through the day out in the west. Now, this is overnight, by the way, 3 in the morning. So if you happen to be out there walking your llama at 3 in the morning, you may want a raincoat if you're in the, area anywhere near, say, Minot or the Devil's Lake Basin, having a chance of these on Thursday. So here we go. Thursday is our chance of showers here in the Red River Valley, and it comes as we go through the morning hours and the early afternoon. Then in the late afternoon, more thunderstorms could be forming. The wind starts tapering off just a bit, and these storms may be strong. So that's it. Oh, and if you have a tortoise too, Brenda, that's right. Because if you're walking your tortoise, sometimes they don't mind a little bit of rain, right? So that's the hour-by-hour forecast on the storm front. Now let's talk about this smoke business. We're going to look at the surface smoke, the stuff that gets in our throat and our lungs as we go through. This is a look at now, and the model shows that we have these swirling winds from the south that's going to keep the snot in the air throughout the morning hours. That's just not fun to breathe. Moving through northwest Minnesota, all of this will have that elevated level of smoke in the lower levels of the atmosphere. Then there'll be a decrease in the thickness of the smoke as we go into Thursday morning. And then after that, with the cooler air coming in from the northwest, a little bit of a break from the surface smoke as we close out our Thursday. But what about the depth of the atmosphere? We've got this near full moon out there. Tonight, skies should be pretty good. And we'll have a very colorful presentation of the moon because of all of this through the atmosphere, through the depth of the atmosphere, a lot of schmutz in the air. We're talking smoke from wildfires out west, and this just continues to roll through. So even as we go through Wednesday and Thursday, it doesn't clear out in the depth of the atmosphere, but at least at the surface, it should get better late Wednesday and into Thursday. And then late on Thursday, the entirety of the atmosphere clears up for just a little bit. I second your sentiments, Brenda. Thank you for that. I won't repeat it just because there's kids watching, and if there's not, I hope they start watching Hutch's Weather, trying to prepare kids for the weather as well. Watching from Oakley, Leora, good to have you on board. That's a look at the smoke as promised. You got your forecast facts and details. Now we're going to look at some storm risks real quick and take a look at that radar. Are you ready? Let's take a look at the radar scene right now as we look at the Doppler radar. Here it is as we head towards 9 o'clock. We have strong thunderstorms, but they're not severe right now in Montana. These are drifting to the east. There isn't a whisper of anything going on in North Dakota. South Dakota has a few showers in towards the Sioux Falls area here. And look at this moving into parts of Iowa. Again, nothing severe in those parts. But these strong ones pushing through Montana have made it through Billings on their way to Miles City, Montana right now. Another line. So we got one line of strong storms moving over you. And there are at times some hail chunks falling from these puppies out there on the high plains of I-94 corridor as we... Did you hear that sound? That's a brand spanking new photo that's been uploaded on hutchesweather.com. Thank you very much. Y'all are the most goodest, the most bestest, and we'll take a look at some of those photos coming up momentarily. Stick around, okay? These storms here are basically rumbling through Forsyth on their way to Miles City, Terry, Glendive. They're strong, drifting to the north and east. Their movement is 50-mile-per-hour winds is what we're expecting from these, but as we take a look at the latest, let me stop this thing from looping here, and we'll go to the most recent frame so we can see that this special weather statement from the National Weather Service office out in Montana says this storm's moving east at 43 miles per hour. Now, if a storm burps out any wind out of it at all, it's going to at least move as fast as the speed of the storm. So 50-mile-per-hour winds, not out of the question. And in isolated places, it could be even more. So that's what those storms have as far as a threat right now. If you're in Jordan, on the southern shores of Fort Peck Reservoir out here, south of Glasgow, where Hutch did a lot of water skiing as a youth and even some fishing, what a big, beautiful reservoir that is out there. I'll tell you what, that's what's heading your way. Again, the risk of severe isn't great, but it isn't zero. And here's tonight's risk of severe. We'll turn this on for you. And this is from my friends who basically keep their eyes on the skies when it comes to severe weather. And we're going to look at the day one forecast. Now, this day one forecast shows there is a slight risk of severe weather right where you see it. That's for tonight. The green areas is what's called a marginal risk. And I think if we have any threat at all, the later we get, the risk for storms tonight in northeast Montana and up here near Crosby, that's going to be gusty winds. Thanks, Nancy, for sharing stars with me. I sure appreciate that. Now, I do want to point out that as we go through the forecast the next couple of days, the risk of storm shifts. Tomorrow, look out, western North Dakota. You're on track to see a chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Now, as we take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center says with regards to these. Let me see if I can go ahead and query this and get the details from the Storm Prediction Center. I should be able to if I behave, but if not, let me see if I can double click on that. Apparently not. Okay, so suffice it to say, gusty straight line winds and hail will be the main threat when these fire up in the afternoon and evening hours. Now, there is going to be some shear in the atmosphere, so an isolated tornado in the high country can't be ruled out as we go through the afternoons there. So that is the look at your Wednesday forecast for severe. It's all right here in Montana and the oil patch. Now, let's take a look at day three. Will we have that risk in the eastern third of the state? Well, in Northern Plains terms, you betcha. Fargo, Aberdeen, and Bismarck. Now, this green area is a level 1 of a 5-level risk of severe. It's called marginal risk, and that means 1 or 2 storms may flirt with severe criteria. But we'll have to wait and see as we get through and a little bit closer and see if this gets upgraded. It looked like the model that I showed you in the forecast moments ago showed the storms making their way here a little later. Oop! Did you hear the noise? That's another photo uploaded at hutchesweather.com. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you participating. So our best chance of rain and even a few strong thunderstorms are here in the valley. I'm looking for your questions. I forgot to say that I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the forecast rainfall amounts. So that's what we're going to do first, and then it's right to your pictures. I can't wait to see what you're sending in here. I'll be approving those if I can, and then we'll share some of these awesome shots with you. And they are awesome. Okay, now let's take a look one more time at this high-resolution model. And what I want to do is point out, no, I'm going to go out in time just a little bit farther. We'll use the European model for this, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom into our neck of the woods and then what I'm looking for here is rainfall potential with this. So I'm going to zoom into our neck of the woods so we can kind of focus not on the whole country, but what's going on right here. And on this, we're going to look at the precipitation amounts that'll be possible in 24-hour chunks. So it's kind of a neat way to look at the rainfall potential with this. So now, this is the 24-hour period of time that's ending Thursday morning. Okay, so this is the rainfall all day Wednesday. Notice this is where the main storms will be, but they're trucking here right along I-94 as we start our Thursday morning, and they will just be arriving here. What do they do as we go from Thursday into Friday morning? Here's where the main risk of rain is going to be. There'll be pockets where the thunderstorms develop that could see over an inch, maybe up to 2 inches of rain in some of these areas here. And again, none of these models do a great job of identifying precisely exactly where a thunderstorm is going to form 2 days from now. don't read this way. As meteorologists, we tell you the atmosphere is loaded with moisture, and we could get some locally heavy rain from these thunderstorms, and we'll get the details on those coming up. So that's a look at your rainfall forecast. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's a look at the photos that you've uploaded at hutchesweather.com. So bear with me while I take a look and get these loaded up. Let's go right to them here. Let's see what we got loaded up so far, and then I'll be checking out the new ones that are coming in as we speak. Okay, so I got to tell you, Sherry Barsky, I really appreciate you finding Hutch's weather page and sharing with me your photography skills. Look at this state bird out there, Union Lake, and this loon taking a bath and cleaning off those feathers. Sherry has a talent for capturing that wildlife out there, and I'll tell you what, you do a beautiful job of that. And you know what? Nothing sounds quite as awesome as listening to these loons here when they are floating about on the lake. And these two, I think they're having a conversation. Let's just call it that. A juvenile loon is pestering mom for a snack. Yeah, time for lunch. Sometimes they are older than juveniles when they're pestering parents. And look at these photos. I cannot imagine. You know, this is a sharp eye Sherry has here for capturing not just the state bird of Minnesota, but this is the national bird. Look at that eagle out there choking through the smoke is what Sherry was talking about, because it's hard to see them, let alone in a clear atmosphere. But on these, look at that beautiful eagle, probably having a little word with Sherry there and telling her it's a good idea to use the zoom lens on this shot, right? Sherry, thank you so very much. Okay, now I'm going to look at a couple of sunset shots, and we have the beautiful moon out there as well. Jimmy captured this on Toad Lake, and again, the fire out to the west has sent all this smoke our way, and sunlight traveling through the atmosphere when it's low on the horizon travels through thousands and thousands of miles of atmosphere. And when it's traveling through thousands of miles of atmosphere, that means that sunlight gets bent and it becomes more red and all of that. So I will tell you that is some fun. All right, let's see what we got here. Michael shared a photo here. Let me go ahead and see. This was some time ago, a photo from an event that took place. It says the Alara Center in Grand Forks. Okay, I just approved that, Michael, so let's take a look at that and see. And oh yeah, let's see. I might have to reload this, so I'm gonna have to go off the page and reload my page here so we can see it. So pardon me while I reload the page. Okay, there we go. And now let's go back to the photos page here. Boom. Okay. So now it should reload up. And boom. Okay, so I see your picture, Michael. Now, if you didn't hear, I did go to a little concert. This band called Metallica was playing. You may have heard of them. This one, if it was in the Alara Center, was taken some years ago. I believe 2018 is when this show was. I was at this show, Michael, by the way. Took my kids to these shows over the years, and this time we went again. Only this past weekend, it was in Minneapolis. Michael, thanks for sharing your photo on hutchesweather.com. So a lot of gorgeous photos, including that just incredible super moon. That was a super moon. It was a blue moon, and Julia captured it here in Detroit Lakes. Look at that, mingling with the trees and the smoke in the lower atmosphere. And here is a big, beautiful one from Paul in White Earth as it was tucking its way behind the pine trees, it looks like there. So a lot of great shots. You shared them with me here on Hutch's Weather, and I sure want to appreciate you. And Brenda even says, wow, Sherry, great shots. Oh, have harvesting to do and pruning at the garden, Sarah says. So yeah, it's time. There's some rain coming too. So for those of you who are looking to do some harvesting, Thursday, even in the morning, a chance of some rain showers will be making their way in. All right, you're watching Hutch's Weather. I really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to join me on Hutch's Weather. Drop a comment if you have something you'd like me to cover. But I'm really very happy to spend the time with you here and answer your questions, and I hope I did that well tonight. You have yourself a wonderful night. Remember, hutchesweather.com not only has your latest forecast right at the top of the page, but down below you can scroll down and take part in the fun of uploading and viewing your photos, your weather, your video right here on Hutch's Weather. Have an awesome, awesome evening.